Hey guys, it's Sean back with a new video in the free-to-play series. I'm including this in the free-to-play series playlist so that future new players can make the suitable adjustments for my series. Following the v224 Neo patch, when Nexon removed cubes from daily bosses, the free-to-play meta has completely changed in GMS regular servers. This video is largely going to be speculative and theoretical and purely just my opinion. Let me emphasize that again. This is my sole interpretation on the way to progress in the game. Also, there is a small chance that this change could be reverted back with all the Reddit backlash at Nexon, but even if it does, I'll still keep this video in the small chance that I quit Maple in the future with this change being made. I made a post yesterday about my take on this topic and I first wanted to address some common points in that. I'm not annoyed at all by the fact that it will hinder my future progression. Adapting to different game meta is part of the game. What I'm most annoyed about is the lack of impact my series will have on new future players in this game. I stopped playing my main account that I've played for 10 years to focus on this YouTube series for the intention of helping new players kickstart their Maple journey and teaching all the ins and outs of the games from my view. The progression path I followed is now completely unviable to new starting players thanks to that patch, and there's basically a huge hole in my progression up to like episode 35 because it was completely dependent on Cube Story. I'm hoping to suggest alternative ways to get to my progression point in this video. But anyways, I'm going to split this video into a theoretical section on progression and then talk about my future plans in my progression personally. Alright, so there's a few progression paths one could take in Maplestory. Let me first talk about the progression path I was taking and intending to continue in this series. Of course, events do affect the order you could take and definitely take advantage of that. I'm sitting around here at the moment, although I'm simultaneously working on Meso gear because Nexon has been giving us so many event rings and event cubes that I'm able to work on that as well. The reason I was prioritizing drop gear here is, of course, to farm as many cubes from bosses as I can, as early as I can. This gives a steady inflow of cubes, which means I don't need to spend extra resources buying cubic blades and cubic Chaos blades. I can fully focus on star forcing with my mesos in this case. After I get my damage to about 25k stat, I can work on getting a meso gear set and start meso farming, and that will be the best consistent mesos until endgame basically. The only issue with this path is here. Yes, this part. How the hell are you supposed to get a drop gear set with absolutely nothing? You need to find a way to make a lot of mesos. For my series, the first 20 episodes or so, I focused on juniper farming to help get there, and the occasional familiar openings. There's a lot of other ways you can make mesos, and you can find that on my meso guide here in the link. After that, it looks pretty smooth sailing. Probably up to here because you'll need to get your hands dirty trying to star force to 20 stars and beyond. But yeah, of course Nexon decided to cuck this path, so it's completely unviable now. Following the new changes removing boss cubes, this is the progression path I recommend most players now. If you understand my progression in the section below, this is completely intuitive. It's just switching the priority in drop gear. You gear your damage up to the point where you can meso farm, make consistent mesos out of that, then focus on damage to join hard boss parties like Hard Lucid, Gloom, Virus Healer, etc. to make profit out of the drops. You then focus on item drop to increase the chances of them dropping. This isn't actually too big of an adjustment, but getting to here will be quite a journey now. Your only source of income will probably be from juniper farming and whatever scrap mesos you can get. Since you're not relying on a steady inflow of cubes, you're going to have to buy cubic blades and cubic Chaos blades, which could be very expensive depending on the server. My recommendation is, focus on getting your 17 star Absolabs and CRAs with an arcane weapon. Absolab weapon if your class's weapon is too expensive, through the transfer hammer system, and ideally with epic potential lines. Focus on tiering up your weapon secondary emblem to unique first with 9% attack lines, and then focus on tiering your other armor equips to unique for 9% stat. Whenever you get free Meister cubes from event shops, try tier your weapon secondary emblem to legendary, as those will be the biggest stat gains. Then try and get your armor to 12 to 15% stat with normal cubic blades. Cubic Chaos blades are like 10 times the cost in bearer, so it's not really worth pushing for legendary yet, I don't think. One thing that could really help speed this process up is arcane symbols. They give quite a big boost in flat stats. It's not actually affected by percent stat from your equips, but their extra raw stats will definitely help you increase your stats. Also, following the patch notes, it looks like Legion system has become even more important than before, with all these new rewards being added to the Legion shop. This change is somewhat forcing players to focus on the Legion, as higher level Legions means more coins, which means you can buy more rewards from the Legion shop. This is actually a huge buff to Flames because they're a lot more accessible for players now. So my biggest recommendation now is work on Legion. Legion levels take your top 40 characters in your world and adds the levels to give a final Legion level, meaning if you have 40 level 150 characters, that's a Legion level of 6000. I'm not sure of the exact rates, but I know on my main account where I have a Legion level of about 7,500, I get 500 coins every 3ish days, so it's actually quite a lot if you're willing to invest time into making those. Unfortunately, I'm not the biggest fan of training random classes because I've already trained most of them, so I'll only really use Burning World and Terror Burning for Legions and Link skills, so you won't really see me rush my Legion in my series, but I can't stress enough how important Legions look now. Now let's talk about my future plans for this series. I'm mostly happy with where my Kana is sitting at right now, and I don't think I'm going to spend a lot trying to get it any stronger. For my Corsair, I have my full drop gear already and some of my Mezzo gear, currently working on 17 star equips as of July 2021. So I'm in a pretty comfortable spot for this change. As I said, I'll need to spend extra mezzos getting cubic and cubic chaos blades, but I should be set for mezzo farming soon. So my plan is, after I get my 17 star CRAs and Abs Labs, I'll focus on cubing to unique with cubic blades, and that will allow me to start mezzo farming in lower level Arcane River maps. I'll work on a new set of equips to try push for 22 stars I think. I think it's just cheaper to begin with a new equip from 0 to 22 stars and transfer hammer rather than go from 17 to 22 stars with Abs Labs. So I'll probably do that. Of course, this process will take ages. I'll then work on the potentials after I get the 22 star equips, and hopefully we can get to 45k stat and beyond. But yeah, that's a plan. I don't think it's super necessary to exactly know what you're doing at all points. There's too many variances coming from events and changes that they make to the game for you to perfectly follow that, but I find it super helpful to sort of plan roughly your progression. From episode 1, I roughly already knew my progression path, and I've been following that rough mind map the whole time, although that's now blown apart right now. In conclusion, this change in the boss cube system hurts the even newer players because it really only allows them to progress in the path I recommended with no use for drop gear, which means they will need to reach that 25k stat, and that won't be easy without free boss cubes. The true value of the boss cube system was that it allowed people to simultaneously work on tiering up their equips while they can fully focus on star forcing. But now you need to take the resource out of star forcing in order to buy masters and meisters to tier your equips up. But yeah, comment below your thoughts on my progression charting and the changes in the boss cube system. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys soon in the next episode of our free to play series. Thanks!